Elon Musk's life is not just a success story, it is a high-stakes emotional odyssey driven by a childhood of isolation and a desperate need to protect the future of humanity. The journey begins in the quiet libraries of Pretoria, South Africa, where a young, slender boy sought refuge in books and computers. Elon wasn't just quiet. He was often lost in daydreams so deep his mother once thought he might be deaf, but the silence of his mind was shattered by the brutal reality of the playground. He was a frequent target for bullies, once being thrown down a flight of concrete stairs and beaten until he blacked out, leaving him with a face that was a swollen ball of flesh. This trauma didn't just break his nose. It forged a survival instinct that would later define his hardcore approach to business. To escape his reality, 12-year-old Elon taught himself to code, creating a space-themed video game called Blastar and selling it to a magazine for $500. It was his first realization that he could build his own worlds when the real one felt too cruel. This survival instinct followed him across the ocean to North America, where he arrived with nothing but a dream and a relentless work ethic. Before the private jets and global fame, Musk was a student at the University of Pennsylvania, trying to see if he had the raw discipline to survive as an entrepreneur. He famously lived on just $1 a day, eating bulk-bought hot dogs and oranges to prove that his threshold for existing was low enough to take any risk. To pay for his tuition, he and his roommate rented a 10-bedroom frat house and turned it into a massive underground nightclub on weekends. While 500 students partied under black lights and neon paint, Musk remained the CEO of the chaos, staying sober, counting the money, and often retreating to his room to play video games while the party roared downstairs. This intensity led him to Stanford for a PhD, only to drop out after just 48 hours, because he felt the internet was a tidal wave he couldn't afford to miss. Musk's career has been defined by bet-the-company moments that would break a normal person. During the early days of Zip2 and X.com, which became PayPal, he and his brother Kimball lived in their office, sleeping on beanbags and showering at the local YMCA. This restless, unpretentious energy eventually caught the eye of Hollywood. Robert Downey Jr. famously visited SpaceX to meet Musk, using his mannerisms and accessible eccentricities as the primary inspiration for the Tony Stark we see in Iron Man. Yet, even as he achieved billionaire status, he faced a dark night of the soul in 2008. SpaceX had failed 3 rocket launches, Tesla was weeks from bankruptcy, and his personal life was collapsing under a public divorce. Musk faced a terrifying choice: split his last $40 million between his companies and risk both dying or pick a favorite. He chose to bet it all, splitting the money and literally sleeping on the factory floor to keep the dream alive. He later admitted, "I never cry, but I might cry today," as he watched his life's work teeter on the edge of a cliff. His obsession with the future is often eccentric and deeply personal, fueled by a childhood love for science fiction. He once spent nearly $1 million on the Wet Nelly submarine car from the James Bond film The Spy Who Loved Me, only to be disappointed it didn't actually transform, so he vowed to upgrade it with a Tesla powertrain to make it transform for real. Today, as a citizen of South Africa, Canada, and the USA, Musk views humanity as a fragile flame in a dark universe. His drive to reach Mars and his public warnings about declining birth rates, which led to him having 12 living children as of early 2026, all stem from a singular, almost haunting fear of human extinction. Whether he is leading government efficiency initiatives or launching the world's most powerful rockets, he continues to work 120-hour weeks, fueled by the same urgency felt by that young boy in the library. The belief that if you want to save the world, you have to be willing to lose everything to build it. The 2026 Mars mission landing at Arcadia Planitia. SpaceX is officially targeting the November-December 2026 launch window for its first uncrewed Starship missions to the Red Planet. This isn't just a test flight. It's a massive logistics operation. The fleet. SpaceX plans to launch up to 5 Starship version 3 vehicles. These are the largest rockets ever built, standing over 400 feet tall. Musk's vision is to have robots walking on the Martian surface before the first human ever sets foot there. The cargo. Instead of just scientific sensors, these ships are expected to carry several Tesla Optimus robots. The landing site. They are aiming for Arcadia Planitia, a region chosen specifically because it contains vast reserves of subsurface water ice, which will be critical for future fuel production. The odds. Musk himself has called this a 50-50 gamble, citing orbital refueling. the process of docking two Starships in Earth's orbit to transfer fuel as the biggest technical hurdle they must clear this year. Neuralink's Human 2.0 breakthroughs. Neuralink has transitioned from an experimental lab to a high-volume medical tech company this year. 12 patients and counting. As of January 2026, 12 people worldwide are now living with Neuralink implants. They aren't just moving cursors, they are playing high-speed reaction games and even using robotic arms with their thoughts. The dual implant upgrade. The first ever patient, Nolan Arbaugh, is currently being evaluated for a dual implant setup. While his first chip is in his brain to control digital devices, a second implant would be placed in his spinal cord. The goal is to bridge the gap caused by his injury and potentially restore his ability to walk by stimulating nerves directly. High-volume production. Musk announced that 2026 is the year Neuralink moves to automated robotic surgery, aiming to make the procedure as routine and fast as LASIK eye surgery.